everyone, welcome back to my channel. So if you are new here, please do well to subscribe to the channel and click on the notification button so that anytime we come online you will be notified, okay? Or anytime we drop new videos. And to our amazing returning subscribers, wow, thank you so much for sticking around, okay? So today we are going to be learning basic cutting process, okay? We're going to be learning some basic cutting process. You know, in our previous video we talked about horizontal and vertical measurements. Now we are going to show you how you transfer those things on the fabric you are cutting, okay? So it's assumed that this is a fabric that I bought, okay? So I'm going to fold into two. So if I fold into two, this is the front and this is the back, okay? But because most times, anytime you are cutting clothes, most times we fold into four. It's only the round sleeve and the thigh measurement that you divide into two. Reason being that there are two, okay? So you just divide into two. But for the body measurement, most times, basically, you divide into four when you are cutting it. Then after cutting, you cannot divide into two because after cutting and joining, you have the front and the back. But for this first time cutting, most times we divide by four. Okay, so now I've divided by 1 and 2. So I'm going to divide again as I'm folding again. So I folded into 2. After folding into 2, I'm folding into 4. So look at what I have here: 1, 2, 3, and 4. And please remember that this is zip seam allowance. This place here that I left here is a zip seam allowance, okay? So, and this is the front of the clothes. This place that does not have any joining. Please always have that in mind. This is the place that will be the front of your clothes. Because with my experience with my workers and the people I'm training, most times they will use here as the front of the clothes. You find out that by the time you cut out here, number one, you will not have a zip allowance where you will put your zip. Number two, you have ended up dividing the fabric into pieces. Okay, so this is the front and this is the back. The back is supposed to be two pieces. Excuse me, we're going to use zip to join it. All right, so now let's continue what we are doing. You know what, the next thing we are going to do is to interpret that vertical measurement and horizontal measurement and transfer it on this fabric. Remember that this is a fabric we are trying to cut. So let's assume that we are going to cut a gown or something. So we're going to transfer the vertical measurement to the fabric, okay? We're going to transfer the measurements, those things that we discussed on basic measurement process. We're going to now transfer the basic measurement process into cutting process, okay? So I'm assuming that this place is the base of the clothes, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do now is to first of all take the vertical measurement. So this is the bust, 6 inches is the bust, 8.5 is the under bust. Remember that our vertical measurement, this is half length, 12, okay? And this is the waistline, and this is sorry, this is the waistline, this is the hip line, and this is the length, okay? So remember that I told us that vertical measurements are the measurements that you take to know the exact positions of the body parts on the pattern or the fabric you are cutting. You want to copy the exact position where they are, or that's exact position of the body part on the fabric, because you know measurement varies, people varies, different shapes, different figures, okay? So that's the first thing you are going to do. We have ended up transferring the exact positions of this person's body part on this thing, on this fabric, which is 6, 8.5, then 12, then this is the bust point, that's shoulder to nipple. This is shoulder to under bust. This is shoulder to the half length, and this is shoulder to the hip line. So if I am making a gown, I will continue taking it that way till I reach to the down. So if you're a beginner, I always advise that you measure all those things, shoulder to shoulder to shoulder to, until you will learn the better way to just know where the measurement of the person fall in and know what to use for the person, most especially the shoulder to knee and the shoulder to hip line. Okay, but this one, shoulder to bust point, shoulder to under bust, shoulder to waistline or half length, is constant. Please always take the measurement on anybody you are measuring. It helps a lot. It helps you to get a perfect fit on the person you are sewing for. All right, so the next thing we are going to do now that we are done with the vertical measurement for this one, the next thing we are going to do is to take this horizontal measurement. Remember that our vertical measurement is when the tape is going this way. Now we want to take the horizontal measurement. So we'll start first by checking the shoulder, assuming the shoulder is 12. What we are going to do is we are dividing the shoulder by 2. That's 12 divided by 2. That is 6. And we are adding half an inch that we are going to use to sew it. Okay. So later I'm going to teach us how to. Remember, where the shoulder stops is where your armhole starts. Armhole is where you put your sleeve. In our next video, I'm going to make a video on how to get your armhole. Maybe the easiest way to get your armhole. Okay. Remember, this thing I just sketched here, you can use this ruler. You can use this ruler to draw the line. Do you see it? Your hand is doing shaky. You can always use this ruler to get this line. Please don't stress yourself. Just get this ruler. I think I got this one. Can't even remember again the price I got it. I think it's 1,000 or 1,500. Can't remember. So now when you are done with the armhole, the next thing to do is to measure the bust. Remember that we folded this cloth into 4. So whatever we are having as our bust measurement, we are going to divide it by 4. Please always remember that your division is based on the number of folds that you have. We are going to divide it by 4. Remember this, what I'm talking about now is the basic cutting process. So please do well to drop your comments in the comment section if there's something you want us to discuss concerning this basic cutting process, or you have a question, and give us a thumbs up and see the subscription button if you have not done so. So assuming that the bust measurement of this person is 28, 28 divided by 4, we are going to have 7. And I'll put my seam allowance. Always put your seam allowance. If you're a beginner, please let your seam allowance start from 2 inches and above. 2 to 3 is okay. 1.5 to 2.5 is still okay. Okay, so that if you have any problem or any challenge that you want to handle, you will always find a way around it through the allowance that you added, because sometimes you might even be cutting and you will not remember the whatever. So if there's an issue, at least the clothes will have sufficient allowance for you to do whatever you want to do. Okay, so let's assume that under the bust is 24, and when you divide 24 by 4, we are going to have 6, right? And we'll add our seam allowance. Okay, please always add your seam allowance. Remember that I'm not, see what I just did, my tape is taking its origin from this front, from the fold, not from the zip allowance, please. And it's not starting from here, because I've watched my trainees make the same mistake almost all the time. Okay, it's not from this edge, it's not from the armhole side. I'm taking my measurement from this place that does not have any joining, because that is the front of the dress. Okay, so assuming that my hip line is still the same 24. Okay, so I'll do 6 and I'll add 2 inches seam allowance, and assuming that the hip line is the same thing as 32. So if I divide 32 by 4, I'm going to have 8. Remember, this one is not enough, so I can manage this same allowance, okay? So I'm going to connect this thing now. I'm going to connect it. So by the time you finish, you connect whatever you're doing, okay? Because this is not actual measurement. That's why we are having this ridiculous shape, okay? So I'm going to connect this one like this, okay? So I'll take it down. So this is a gown, okay? Please always bear in mind that the first thing to do is to first of all run the vertical measurement. And the reason why you are running the vertical measurement is because you want to know actual positions of those body parts. This is under bust, this is shoulder to waistline, okay, and this is shoulder to hip line, okay. So first thing to do is to take the measurement, vertical measurement, which is your aim is to know the actual positions of the body part on the fabric you are cutting. And after knowing the actual positions of the body part on the fabric you are cutting, the next thing to do is to now proceed to getting to know the actual measurements of those body parts. I think you now see the difference. The first one is to know the positions of the body part on the fabric. Then the second one is to know the measurement of those body parts that you have seen their actual whatever, okay. So please, if you have not subscribed today, I believe that this content has been useful to you. So if you have not subscribe to the channel, please do well to subscribe, because we have a lot to talk about, and I will be taking it detail by detail, because I wouldn't want you to have problem, especially if you are learning at home, if you are doing it yourself at home, okay. I want it to be something you can always pick and do and know what you are doing. All right, so do well to subscribe, please, and drop your comment in the comment section. Follow us if you have not started following us. Thank you for watching, and see you in our next video. So in our next video, I think we are going to be discussing on how to get an armhole, the shoulder and the armhole. That's the next thing we are going to be discussing. So we are going to learn how to get this thing, calculate it from the measurements you have, and how to get the shoulder and the neck, okay. The shoulder and the head, that's the upper part. Everything about this upper part, we're going to do it. And after doing it, I think it's time to go into the business proper. All right, so thank you for watching, and see you in our next video.